Good afternoon, T-Wolves. Mr. Quinton here, wanting to go over what we talked about in class just in case you weren't able to make the Zoom or if you need to do a little follow-up here and see what happened. All right, here we go, folks. Jumping right in. Today, we talked about population density and distribution. Yes, density and distribution, population, the number of people, and density, how tightly we're packed together, and distribution, how we get spread out. That's right, folks. Pay attention to the cards here. No magic tricks today, maybe some other time. But if I've got just one card versus this whole stack of cards, you can see that one card by itself doesn't take up very much space. It's not quite as dense. Here we have the whole deck of cards all together, tightly stacked, which then makes it more dense. It works the same for population. When we're all tightly knit together, that's much more dense than when we're spread out. And when we are spread out, it's much the same as when I fan out the cards, because now they are spread out and that becomes population distribution. If I deal the cards out, I'm still spreading them out, which makes it a different way of distribution. We do the same thing with our populations when we are looking at the numbers of people. That is a population. And by doing that, it helps us to determine the density and the distribution of those people. It helps us to really and truly better understand our entire geography, because that is a huge part of where people are and why they are there, why the people are where they are. And if you take a look at what we're doing today, you can head on over. If you were in period one, you jump in there, but you can go to whatever course that is. Then you come over here to quarter one. Then you go ahead and jump into week of September 28th and see that Monday is already available. Very first thing up here is some census information. You would need to click this link twice. It hasn't been working for everyone, so if it doesn't work for you, you might just want to Google the census instead, but it will take you right here, and you can see that the population of the United States is 328,239,523. That is a very large number. You might have been surprised by that number. You might have been thinking, wow, I thought there were more people than that. But the census is what tells us this information, and it tells us for the United States. And the census is very important. As a matter of fact, it is so incredibly important, it was put into the Constitution. We have to do it once every 10 years. And you'll get a form in the mail. It's also available online. If COVID hadn't happened, you would have seen people walking around your neighborhood this summer with lanyards, going around door to door, knocking on the door. Hey, have you done your census form? Let me show you how, because this is how states get money from the federal government for programs and stuff. This is how states determine how many schools get built, how many teachers get hired, how many people need power, how much of the power grid is going to be needing to be grown, and the water and sewer lines, reservoirs that need to be built. All those kinds of things get tied into our population, and understanding the density of it and how it is distributed. So that's just one of the many reasons why it's so important to understand this. And you can see that here on the census website. So if you were to go and look in here, we actually have a little discussion board you're welcome to take a look at and see. If you would like to answer the prompt, it's totally optional today. That's up to you. You can answer the prompt in 3 to 5 complete and complex sentences. Are there more or less people in the United States than you thought? What about in the world? How many of them do you think live in your state? And you can feel free to Google this information if you would like to look it up before you make your answers. But getting into the heart of what we're doing is our population and density, distribution and density assignment. Because in order to understand this, you do need to know that there are tons of people here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 8.2 billion people. That's right, here, highlighted on the screen. 8.2 billion people in the world. You have to understand how big a billion really is. If you think about a million, and you tried to count to a million, and you could do one number per second, all the way up to a million, it would take you about 11 days. But a billion is 1,000,000 times. So that now that 11 days becomes upwards of 33 years. That's how big a billion is. And we have over 8 billion people on the planet. That's why it's so important to understand our density and our distribution so that we understand what our world is going to look like. The experts say that we could be over 10 billion people in less than 40 years. And we may not have enough resources to handle 10 billion people on our planet. So that is something that's important to understand and realize. And so that is why we take such great care to look in things like demography that helps understand how we set up our world in terms of density and distribution when it comes to population. So if we're looking at our assignment for today, the population distribution and density, you'll see here that the instructions say to please follow the instructions inside the assignment slides. You will need to read the article linked in the first slide titled Population Distribution and Density first. You'll need to read that first, please. It is underlined in blue and may need to be clicked twice. So if you are sitting here looking at the front page, you're going to see where it says that, and you can just simply click that link. Then you're going to see where it opens up. You can click it again, and it's going to take you right here. So you can see that you will have something that you can look at. It's a very quick read, basically a page, really less than. It's got a big, giant thematic map in the middle, and it's showing you our population density here in the United States. You can see that these white areas, according to our key, have 0 to 1 people per square mile. Then if you look down here where we are in this area, you can see that we have much more like 1,000 people per square mile. And you also get a nice little bonus by seeing that population density has a nice little paragraph dedicated to it so that you can get some information and a definition, as well as a whole thing here about population distribution. Why might that be important? Because if you're in these slides, you're going to see that the very first slide talks about what is population density, what is population distribution. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not looking for a copy and paste. I don't need to know that you can copy and paste. I need to know that you've read it. So I need this information in your own words, please. Then, once you have that information here, you'll be able to see that next it's asking you to insert a picture of a city of your choice with a large population density. If you've got a large population density, ladies and gentlemen, if everything's tightly knit in a big old city, that very well might be an urban center, something we talked about last week. Also, when you're in your assignment and you're looking at my document and they've got your buttons over here for submit and edit, please make sure that you have clicked the edit button so that when you're in your assignment, you're doing it from Google Drive. This way you can do you can click on insert, you can click on image, you can click on search the web and pull up what you want to search at. And you will still be able to submit in Schoology, I promise. Here you can see I chose Houston. Please do not choose Houston. I don't need you to copy me. I need you to do your own work. So I chose Houston, selected my image, and then inserted it into the slide. Once there, I then answered the question, why do you think so many people live in this city? Again, looking for your words here, but don't just leave something because it's a big city. That's not what I mean. I want you to tell me why you think that is. If that means you need to look up and maybe Google the city you're looking at, or maybe watch a little video on the city, please go ahead. Tell me in your words why you think it's big. Finally, it's asking for the population. Well, I didn't know the population of Houston offhand, so I literally just Googled Houston population 2020. And there is your answer, of which I plugged in. You're welcome to do the same thing. Once you finish this slide, one more slide remains. And now you're going to insert a picture of a town of your choice with a low population density. Why? Because they're more spread out. They have a more even distribution. And you're going to do the same thing. Why do you think the town has a low population density? And what is the population of the town? Perhaps for the small town, you might want to stay in the United States. It might be a little easier to find a smaller town in the United States, but you're welcome to look anywhere, especially for the big city. You're welcome to choose any city you like. That's a large urban place. So once you're done, make sure you submit it. You are going to have until 11:59 p.m. If you have any questions, you are welcome to hit the arrow here. I'm sorry, the envelope. And then you can also send me an email. So thank you very much. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day and you all take care of yourselves. Mr. Quinton out.